guys, Sam back with you here Friday, February 23rd. We're mid-morning. Next up, per members voting, is a look at Lumen to Bitcoin. Now, as I like to do here, we've done this one before, but you know, it's sometimes always a good idea to just strip your chart bare and just start from scratch. It's where are we now? Right to the hard right edge of the market. What can I conclude about where we've been? Do I have a count here that's in play? You know, it's a good exercise to go through rather than just bring it up with everything you have on it. Sometimes that fresh perspective can help you get a handle on it. You might see it a little bit differently. Maybe there's been some invalidation or confirmation. Either way. But always a good idea to start with the daily so we get some sense of this. So I would not be looking at this as a 1, 2, 3. I would look at this as we had something here, round trip all the way back down. Now we've started again. Now, a couple of things that are always a good idea, which I encourage you to do, is always wick off these significant resistance levels. All right, prior pivots that were significant. You can see here this may be coming back into play here right now as we hover here. We're getting these deep wicks, but they're being rejected quickly as the market is bought. So it would imply here that this prior resistance now is an area where where we are finding, you can see there's another one here, where we're finding support. For whatever reason, that seems to be, if I get it right on there. So we've got this prior resistance offering support as we dip into that. Now all I've done down here, I've just wicked off the lowest low that I could find. So, of course, no surprise. I don't think we need to dig into exactly what happened there. I'm just going to work from my swing low to my swing high. So I'm going to grab the fib tool, just take that absolute low, if I can get right on it. There we go. Up here. Okay, well, where are we? Well, that's probably not terribly surprising that we're just bouncing here at the 50. So we have a combination of, so you start stacking, right? That's the idea. Confluence. We have prior resistance, so we have some structural support here. Prior resistance offering the support here. And we know algorithms are written to buy the 50. Swing low, swing high, they start buying here. They got their first reaction, doesn't get to their target. Their target has not moved, still up here. There's negative 23. They're defending here. They'll defend it all the way down to the 65 till they get to the other side of they'll defend it all the way down here and continue to buy at the 61. They'll flip on the other side of the 65. So right now, all we're seeing is a little, bouncing. It's just support. Right? It's just as simple as that. Every time we come down here, it gets absorbed. So people are bullish, come down here, Lumen's on sale. Think of it that way. Now we can go dig in here now and see, do we have anything that we can add to this pivot? I mean, I don't know that you would need to really. So one thought is you could say, this Elliott wave stuff, I'm not so sure about it. Well, let's keep it simple. That's pretty simple. Prior resistance, I'm at a 50%. You don't have to be a rocket science to pull up 100 charts and see how commonly you see pivots at 50%. So that's pretty simple. If you want to keep it simple, you certainly have that opportunity right there. It's hard to argue with that. Buying the 50, prior resistance, now support, got a target up here. Whether you knew about that as a target or not, you can say, well, pushing to a higher high. Well, pretty simple, but we want to be a little bit more sophisticated in our approach. So let's go from the daily, as this is the progression I would encourage you to do, from daily to the 4-hour. Now we can look here, and I'll take this off just because we know it's established that we're at this area of support, just to clean up the chart a little bit. So, let's dial this in a little bit here. So what do we get here? Well, so I always suggest the first thing you do is start looking for the threes, because the threes are tells. So we can certainly see in here we get a nice ABC right here. So hard to miss that one. Okay, so if that's an ABC, now working backwards, well, do I have a, that couldn't be 1, 2, so this would have to be potentially A, B, C into that, so we can get another 3 here. If I can get it hot. So we can get another 3 here. Well, now I got an ABC followed by an ABC. And it looks like maybe even again an ABC. So this is we're just getting lots of 3s here. Complex correction. Maybe maybe that's B, and we're going down. There's a C down here. Could be as we would like to see in the C wave. Maybe we get a 1, 2. It could be a 3, 4 to finish the C down here. Maybe we double bottom. It's hard to rule that out. So we got an ABC, and this. So you might find yourself having to consider that you're connecting two ABCs. So if I put this, let's go to a larger degree because we don't want two ABCs back to back. So let's go here. So we'd have ABC, 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 right? So that doesn't make sense. So this most likely, while it is still corrective, that would suggest to me that we've got a WXY, which we're seeing a lot of in crypto. We're seeing these complex corrections. Just connecting WXY, just connecting two ABCs, right? So we see it, ABC, ABC, ABC. So the X wave is a corrective wave that connects the two. So this ABC here, right, being labeled now as the W, we have a connection, a corrective wave that connects the two. That's the X wave here. The fact that it's 3-wave adds validity to that count. W, X, Y. Well, what do we get here? How strong is this ABC looking? Well, I can make a case. I've got a pretty good 3 here and a pretty good 3 here. So this is a little weird. So is it here? Is that a truncated 5th here? But so again, going using that same method here, I'm just going to look for my 3s. I can go, okay, well there's an A, there's a B, and whether the C's here, or this ends up truncated. Either way, we've got essentially we've got a triple top here. So that's close enough. Close enough. We can get an ABC there. So I got to put this now in a bigger degree. So let's go. We'll go up to minuet. Let's put that in. We'll put that green. Okay. So now we've got a potential ABC that's in the process of finishing. So I've got my A wave here into my B wave. So let's just measure it as we would anything. We know likely tendencies for B waves between the 50 and the 786. Well, what do we do here? So we're getting these little wicks. So this is rejection. It's rejection. It's an attempt to get through a quickly rejected. Well, 4-hour bar, but it's not sustained, right? So even though we're wicking through the 65, it's not sustaining. It's immediately rejected and the market's falling off. Now, so I'm going to take this one off here just to declutter the chart. We know that the 50 is down here, right? We know we've already done a little bounce on the 50. But we can see here, well, here's the algo target. There's the algo target from this swing high to swing low. Even though we're getting little wicks on the other side of it, we can see that algo target sitting down there. So if we're playing this certainly could be a diagonal, right? An ugly diagonal into our 1 wave, but it's there into the 2. Would that play as a 3? Here's where which one are you picking? I would just probably split the difference here. Into my 1, there's my 2. So where's my 3? Well, I'm just through the 1272, not quite to the 1618. So we don't know that that's finished. But this would be a high probability zone right here. And I get this little overlap here where I've got the negative 23.6 and the 1618, a little cluster. Is that a front run of it? Could be. Could be there's one more little move down here before we start. Could be that the 3 is in. We're not, can't be too definitive about that. There's not great subdivision down here. I know I'm looking at a 4-hour, but you can usually see it. It's not great here. That doesn't subdivide in an easy way for us to spot the subdivision here. What would be helpful here is if we get a cleaner 4. So how are we going to check that? So I'll take that off. Again, same process. Every time, every coin, every chart, doesn't matter. That's the power of it. The same thing every time. So we go down to the 3. That's the window we'd be looking for right here. I mean, it can go deep. Can be that deep. Here's the 1. We got to wick that off, so we pay attention. Do we go into a diagonal? So that's kind of interesting there. Potential spot for our 4. Then do we get the push down for a 5? That would give us some confirmation that we've got this completing as a. So look, I get another cluster down here. If I can get up here for a 4 and then down for a 5, then I'm completing the finishing of this C wave here relative to the B here. Right, here's my target down here. So I've got these 2 little clusters down here. Now let's back that out and see where that would put us in the larger count. Okay, so I'm just going to work as I did before. I'm just going to grab my tool. So I know this is my low. I'm going to go up here to my high. Okay, so here's my 50. So would that make sense? Well, you know, you could expand this and say, well, maybe I've got a bigger cluster down here. Might look at that and say, well, what else can I identify? Are there any other tools I can use looking for swing relationships that would give me more targets? Because now I got more targets than I'd like down here. So I've got this one, I got this one. I don't want to make a target that fat. I'd like to see a little bit more confluence on them. So can I find anything here? Well, I can certainly take the alternate price projection tool to take the length of my A projected from my B. Well, so if I pull this over, you can see where we're going here. So this helps a little bit. Here's 100%. Right, you see that? That's 100% the length of the A wave, the proposed A wave from the B. So now I get a little bit more confluence down here. If I'm going to go deeper, well, I've got another cluster down here. All these sustain a bullish bias because we're just looking for zones where we might complete the correction from this swing low to this swing high. This is all still internal to that entire move. A lot of complexity to it. Can we get this to come down and give us a nice clean 5? That would give us more confidence in these potential targets as lows. So if we're going down here, now that starts to lose symmetry, right? That would be I mean, it still plays, but that would be an extended 5th relative to what we've got here in the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. More likely, I would see that bottoming down here. Where are we in the larger picture? Well, here's the 50 to the 618. So I got this big zone down here, and we can see every time we go into that zone, rejected. Lumen's on sale. Lumen's on sale. Lumen's on sale. So reasonable to be looking down here. We get into this zone, you know, get your bullish hat on. We certainly have some precedents here to imply that there's good support. Now, can we get a technical pivot to get us all that more comfortable with that buy down there? And can we come off of it with a 5 wave? Well, you're not going to know until the thing develops, but you certainly have the potential. So if you could, 2 ways to trade it, right? You could try to buy the low. You know, so you don't want to be overly aggressive here. Or your alternative is wait for the reaction wherever it's going to be. We don't know if it's here, if it's here, if it's here, and then take the first retracement. That's the safer way to do it. Then you're looking for you're trying to buy into the 2, looking for the 3. Nothing wrong with that. Right? I like those because we know clearly where we're out. You know, if you're trying to buy this as it's coming down, you're trying to buy the absolute low, the pivot low, you know, not that there's anything wrong with it. I try and do it all the time. I like trying to do that, but I'm not going to, you know, go heavy there. No reason to go heavy, but, you know, as I'll often say, it's, you know, a little appetizer, right? Up here, maybe now here's your soup and salad. Here, now that's your full meal, right? To get weird on you, but that's just how I think of it. A little snack bite down here. So don't want to go too heavy on that, but I would certainly take a stab at it. And why not to go too heavy? Because even if we get a 5 wave off of that, it's still, the expectation is you're going to get a retracement. The people that catch that are going to start to take profit, and you get a little retracement. That's what creates the 2 or the B. Then here's the next buy. So you might say, okay, I'll take a run on it. I'll try and get that pivot, come up here. I know I'm going to hit resistance on the way up. Well, I mean, so again, let me pull this off here. Let me pull this off. So if we get this roadmap, all right, well, I know I'm going to have resistance from the major pivots because there's going to be algorithms up there that are going to sell it. So if I pull down here, if I get it right here, get that right on there. Well, even if I get a big pop off of that, I'm going to run into the 50 right there. Now take note here, this yellow line here, do you remember that? That was, you know, significant. Well, I can't get over there far enough. But these prior zones, that's why it's good to have these on here. That look how that prior pivot offered support right here. You know, maybe additional resistance here if we get above it. If we can get above it, if we get the 3, that's not a bad place to be looking for support on the way down. That's why it's good to have them. Just keep them on your chart. You know that way you don't have to go check it. You just know that that's a significant pivot from prior history. From all the way back then, it seemed to come into play here. Every time we tap it, you know, it gets pumped right out of there. We're hovering on it right now. So potential roadmap. 4, 5, technical pivot, 1, 2. Can we get it? Can you get in for the 3? If you get in for the 3, you know the 4 is coming. If it's going to stay impulsive, We know the 4's coming. Maybe that's a profit zone. Reload for the 5. Then where are we in the big picture? Then you got to step way back out and go, okay, well, where would that put us? Well, we're still on our way up here. That's the target from this zone here, from the algorithms that are buying here. That's what they're pushing for. They're waiting for. They don't care. They'll just stay long and strong till they get there. And then you'll see the reaction. Invariably, particularly if you're looking at them off of this kind of time frame. Big target gets hit, look for the reaction. So we got a lot to do here along the way if we're going up there. And just because it's there doesn't mean that we must go there. But it's certainly a potential target, certainly a candidate. Right? We can look at this. So can we get that? If you can buy it here and sell it there, you've had a very good trade. You've had a very good year. All right, guys, I'll stop it there.